Sports fans, this is Robert with WTP Sports here live on this Thursday evening. We got a special guest with us here tonight, ready to do the 2026 Miami Hurricanes football preview with my man Justin Geiger. How you feeling this evening, Justin?
Feeling phenomenal, man. Season approaching. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I'm glad you were able to make it tonight. We also got our man SEC Sean, who will be co-hosting with me tonight. I'm glad he could be in here with me as well. SEC Sean, how you feeling?
Yeah, it's cutting out a little bit. So, um, yeah, no, I'm glad. I'm glad to see you on here, Justin. It's always good to do the team previews with somebody from the team because I mean, we can sit here and talk about Miami all we want, and we kind of know, but to get an inside view from a fan of the team is what we want to bring to the viewers so that they can hear it from the inside.
Yeah, that's a fact. Both of y'all's teams met up in the college football playoffs last year in College Station, Miami, Texas A&M. Did that game. Well, of course, it went the way Justin wanted it to go because they won it. But how did y'all feel about that game? And if the weather was different, SEC Sean, do you think I would have had a better chance of winning that game?
You know, it was a phenomenal game. The atmosphere at Kyle Field was electric, which, I mean, it would be if we played Tarleton State there. That's just the way the Aggie fans are. But Miami had a good crowd. Miami had a squad last year. I think it was a defensive struggle. And I think we've talked about it numerous times, Rob, that A&M's problem last year was the defense would be playing phenomenal and they'd get popped with a long run. And it happened. And then Marcel Reed threw the pick, of course, in the end zone, which everybody's harping on him. But, I mean, you're trying to make a play to tie a game at the end in a playoff game. He probably forced it a little bit, but I thought it was a great game. I thought it was good. I think that was, both teams' first time in the playoff. So, it was really good to get two new bloods in there a little bit. And Miami and A&M have had some pretty good games throughout the past couple of years. We've played a few times, and they've been. I mean, Miami mollywopped us one year down there, but it's been a good little battle. Miami's a classic blue blood team, so that was my take on the game. I thought, in all honesty, I think the team that was more balanced won the game.
Yeah, Justin, how'd you feel about that run y'all made last year in the college football playoffs?
It was a long time coming. Be honest with you, Brown. I mean, I've been a Miami Hurricane fan my entire life. Used to go to the Orange Bowl when I was a kid. We were a great program for a long time, especially growing up. And we struggled for 20 plus years. And last year was just a great feeling, to be honest with you. I mean, that Texas A&M game was a tough game last year. Like again, we were talking earlier, it's probably my second favorite game of the year, not because it was, you know, crazy, but at the same time, just how good both defenses played. A couple kicks here and there. If either one of us could make a field goal, you never know what could have happened. It was just a different game, and it was fun, and the run was fun. And I was in Miami. I think I told you, Brown, I was in Miami when all of the games were going on. I was in Miami when I was actually in the Keys when we beat Ohio State, which was the best feeling in the world. So it was a great run, man. I was at the national championship last year. Actually, it was a home game, so it was fun for that. I mean, that or the stadium was crazy. The tailgating was crazy. It was just a fun environment to be in, and to see it starting to, this year, not a letdown. I feel like we're better this year than we were last year. So it's kind of just a really cool, just good to be back, man, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, let's get into some of the questions that we got in our chat for you this evening. Uh,
Perfect.
the first one we got on the board is what do you think about Darian Mensah, and where do you rank him among the two previous portal quarterbacks that Miami had the past two seasons?
Well, Cam Ward is the number one. It's not even a question. Cam Ward, he really changed our program's direction. Cristobal obviously is a very big part of that, but Ward just changed the entire. If we had a defense that year, we probably would have made it last that year too. In my eyes, Cam Ward's the number one. I got to put Beck number two just because he got us to the ship. He didn't have the best season last year, but he got us there. And then when he got us there, he played good. He played really good. And I think Mensa honestly is probably the best talent that we got out of the three portal QBs. I watched him when we played Duke. He's really good. He's phenomenal. We paid him a bunch of money to come. So, it he and his wide receiver he brought with him, Cooper Barkett, I think they're just it's hard to say. I think we're gonna make it to the ship again and be pretty close to it. So he's gonna be up there. But I got to put Ward and Beck one and two.
Yeah, that makes sense because we've already seen what those two have done in a Miami uniform. We're waiting
Yeah,
to see what Darian Mintz is going to do. But like you said, he's probably the most athletic out of the two, the other
no
two.
question.
But we'll see what he does this season. I think he's going to have a phenomenal season, in my opinion.
I do too. I'm excited, man. I have a cousin that's been going down to the spring stuff and some of the games and stuff they've been going through right now, like scrimmaging. He's like his arm is unbelievable. It's just on point, and he's much more athletic than obviously Beck, but even way more athletic than Cam was. So it's going to be great to see.
Yeah, for sure. The next question we got in the chat is from Post Game of the Post Game Sports Podcast. He
Mm.
says, "What's your confidence level for the offensive line going into the season after losing two monsters in the NFL draft?"
Losing Maloga is gigantic. Obviously, if you guys pay attention a little bit to the NFL, they're like rating him probably the best offensive lineman that came out of the draft. Obviously, he's going to be crazy. So replace him is going to be tough. But we got the number one offensive lineman in the country last year out of high school. I know people are saying he's first stage starter in Cantwell. Just a complete monster, 6'8", you know, 300 pounds. They say he's the next one. So it's gonna be hard to replace him, but I think he's big. We got Akunla from last year who was really good, Rodriguez and McCoy. So we got some really good O linemen. And one thing that I'm not worried about is our O line or D line. In the trenches, I feel like we got the best program in the country. I mean, obviously I'm a fan, but with the coaching staff, with a Jason Taylor and I mean, trenches were just really good. Like last year, before the season even started, I told you, Brown, I said, man, our trenches game is just, we're really good. So I think we're gonna have a drop off, a little bit of a drop off, but I don't think it's gonna be big enough to make a drastic change. And we got a mobile quarterback now, so
Yeah, for sure. SEC Sean, we got a question from you. You want to go ahead and tackle that one?
Yeah. Something that's become interesting in college football is the tight end room. People are using the tight ends more and more and more. So, what are your expectations of your tight ends? And I'll bring them up in a second for you too. How much of an asset are they going to be looking at your wide receivers, which are loaded, and you've got a hell of a running back coming back? So, what do you see your tight ends being more a blocker or more kind of a hybrid both? Just what are your thoughts on them?
last year they used Lofton, who's our starting tight end this year, again this year, more as a blocker. And I think this year even more is going to be blocking. I know it's weird. In the past, we've always had really good tight ends. Um, you know, Obviously, if you go down to Greg Olson or Kellen Winslow or just down the line of how many tight ends, you know, Lofton is really a wide receiver. But he's going to be I think just more of a blocking, but I like them throwing him out there as a decoy. Luca Gilbert, who was like the number one tight end in the class last year for tight ends, come out of high school, so he's going in his sophomore season. He's supposed to be a great, pass catching tight end, but also a really good blocking tight end. So it'll be interesting. I don't know how. I mean, with all the what we got in the running back room and the wide receiver room, it's hard to say. But I do think Lofton is unbelievable. I mean, they even ran him as a running back last year, a couple plays. So that just shows you how athletic he is. Um, but I mean, we got so many players this year. I mean, this is the first time I can tell you that it's going to be hard. I mean, they could throw anything out there and see what happens in a way, you know. Oh yeah, it is. Luka did towards us. Yeah, that is true. I just see the notes on there. But he was supposed to be the backup tight end. So
Are the two kids here brothers, Hunter and Jackson?
I don't think so.
Harvard. Okay. Just it's not like a normal last name
Yeah.
like Smith or something, you know. So I was like,
Not
I
that
wonder if they're brothers.
I don't know of that. I don't know that for a fact. I don't think so, but
Hmm.
maybe they are. I don't know. Good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, our man Deepwater 1301, he said people are sleeping on Ben Cogden, the 6'8", 330 lineman. What's your thoughts on him, Justin?
I mean, what I've heard in camp and also in the spring game stuff is he's unbelievable. But again, it's a guy that hasn't really been there for us to know a ton about. I know a lot of the locked in Canes people are talking highly of him. Um, I mean, he looks on paper, looks unbelievable, but they all do, right? So hard to say. I mean, he's a name that they're throwing out there like he's going to be one of those players this year. So we'll see.
All right, SEC Sean, you can take over again. Are you on mute?
Yeah, I was trying to get back to the questions.
Oh,
So this is something that I noticed a little bit last year with Miami and their use of Malachi Tony in the Wildcat or whatever they were calling it. The kid's obviously phenomenally talented and athletic. But now you've got, again, we've mentioned some of the people coming in, Mensa and all that. Are you expecting Miami to still do that with Tony, or would you prefer him to be more just traditional, get outside, catch the ball, and make something happen?
I mean, I want him to be traditional. I mean, I think besides Jeremiah Smith, he's the number 2 wide receiver in college football. Um, like, you answered it pretty much. I mean, Mensa's more mobile. I think they were kind of using Tony as that last year because Beck wasn't very mobile, and they were trying to throw the defense off guard by putting him out there and give him the opportunity to do something. He's just ultra talented, and I don't know if you've seen anything about him, but he's put on like 20 pounds of muscle, um, which to me was the biggest question for me as a fan. Him getting injured because of the way that he plays. I think that's they had him in the backfield a ton last year. I don't think that they'll do it as much this year, but I think they'll also try to throw something at the defense and throw them off guard a little bit. Maybe even put Mensa at a wide receiver role, or you never know. I mean, just kind of throw it around and see what happens. Which, if you're a defense, planning for us, it's gonna be hard to, if you see him in motion or if you see him in the backfield, what do you do? It's a great problem. It's a great thing to have for us. It's a problem for the defense though. So I think he'll just be more of a wideout this year. He'll probably put him more on the outside, whereas before he's playing a lot in the slot. So see what happens. But I'm super excited. I mean, that it's fun to have a guy like that on your team for sure. So
Yeah,
yeah, I know.
100%. Oh, go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was just going to follow up because that was what he mentioned. One thing that was a big on my mind was him putting on some weight. I feel like he needed to put on some weight because, I mean, at that frame he was at, eventually those hits are going to take a toll on that body frame. So it was good to see him do that. And if you look at the little graphic up here, he probably has the highest quarterback rating in the history of anybody that's ever thrown 7 passes.
yeah, he does. 100%. And I mean, he throws a good ball, man. I
Yeah.
mean, you can't. I mean, it's so crazy. I watched a lot of the high school highlights when he was playing quarterback in the playoff games and stuff like that. Like, man, how is this little guy throwing that? I mean, he's just. I mean, athletically unbelievable. And if you just hear his his work ethic and what he does, it's sweet. I just think with the wideouts that we got this year, they're gonna take a little bit off of him this year, which will be so much, good because he was getting doubled and tripled towards the tail end of the season, so it should be great.
Yeah, I know when we did our top 10 wide receivers in college football, he came in at number two, right behind Jeremiah
Jeremiah.
Smith. But a lot of us felt like he was right there, like it was a 1A, 1B, really, in all of our opinion, because we felt like he's such a dynamic wide receiver. And I think he led the country as a freshman in receiving yards, I believe, or catches, one of them.
It was catches and receiving yards. It was both.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, he's unbelievable. Like I said, that wide receiver room, with Cooper Barkay coming over, Tony Moore, and they got Jacobs from South Carolina, who I mean, I watched a little bit about. I haven't really seen a bunch, but they say he's really good too. So it's going to be interesting. We got Upshaw as well. That transfer from West Virginia got kicked off the team last week. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but so we even had more pieces, but I mean, I mean, it's a big best wide receiver room we've had in a while. So exciting.
Yeah. Let's go on the defensive side for a minute. How do you feel about the linebacker room at Miami this year? We know what they did with those two ends that they had last year. What do you
Mhm.
think about this linebacker room?
We're gonna miss Wesley Basant a lot this year, but we had two guys last year who I think will be seniors this year, Muhammad Torre and Chase Smith. Torre is going to have a breakout season. He was unbelievable last year in the minutes that he had and when he played. Um, I, I'm really looking. They're seniors. They're leaders. I don't think we fall off a lot, even though Besant was a Miami guy, through and through, and through the bad times and the good times. He played really good last year. But I'm telling you, Torrey and Smith are going to be really good.
Yeah, our man Mossberg of Level Up Sports 10 wants to know how confident are you in the guys replacing Bain and Mesidor?
Yeah, man, it's hard to say, right? Like Bain to me was probably my favorite player coming through Miami in a long time. You see what he's doing in Tampa Bay already, what they're talking about, how both him and Mesdor, how high they got drafted. We went out and spent big money again and got Damon Wilson from Missouri. Arguably, if you're comparing, he's going to be a Bane type of player when you look at stats. He had, like 49 tackles and 12 and a half sacks, I think, something like that in his years, not just with Missouri, but when he was with Georgia. So with Georgia and Missouri, he had those numbers. Those numbers are unbelievable. I mean, those are Bane numbers. And Miami went out and bought and got him. I said bought him. I didn't mean to say it, but got him. And and I think he's going to be a good one. Now the key is, are you going to be able to replace Mesidor, right? And to me, Lightfoot, Scott, and Blount are going to be good. Now, are they going to be as good as Mesidor? I don't know. I think Lightfoot is probably the best out of those, and then Blount would be probably the next one there. If you're asking me what's the biggest question, that would be that other side on our defensive line this year. To me, that would be the biggest question. I think the Wilson side is he's going to be unbelievable. So I was talking to Joey Galloway, he works for obviously ESPN. We were kind of talking about it as well. Um, Big thing is Wilson's going to be a top 10 pick next year. So it's going to be interesting how that other side uh, can make up what Mesidor brought last year.
Yeah, we want to thank our man Wiz for being in the chat with us as well. He's a huge Notre Dame fan, so I know he was going to be watching this one closely. being a
Mm.
huge Notre Dame fan and knowing that's one of the marquee matchups on the
Yeah.
schedule this year for Miami. SEC Sean, and you can take over these next two.
Let me unmute. Where was the next one? So we all know Fitzgerald, another. I mean, look, I'm going to come down and have to do some investigation because where you're getting these true freshmen that play like they've been in the systems for 4 years, I don't know. I've never seen it at any college football level that I can think of. I guess I mean Jeremiah Smith, but that was insane what that kid did on the back end, Fitzgerald. So
Yeah.
outside of him,
Mhm.
how are you feeling about your whole secondary as a unit?
Just as good or better than last year. I mean, OJ Frederick, who started last year, unbelievable. Damari Brown, who was injured last year and only played half the season, was supposed to be our best DB, and now he's back this year. And then we got Xavier Lucas. All I mean, all a lot of speed, all great players, all top ranked high school players coming in. So and it's what they feed them in Dade County, SEC, Sean. I mean, it's Dade County. So you got Jeremiah Smith, who's from Dade County. I mean, it's what they feed them. They're playing all year round, where, obviously different areas of the country aren't playing all year round and serious about football, right? So um, again, I am very, very happy about what we got going on in the secondary. So I think last year, if you saw the first half of the championship game, where we didn't have starting safety because he had the targeting penalty in the game before, and we played kind of safe and prevent. And then second half when he played, how the game turned in our favor against Indiana. Um, I think this year is even going to be better. I just think they got a year beneath them, and also that experience of playing a national championship and what we did and what we didn't do. I think that's just going to resonate, and we'll be ready to rip.
You got anything, Rob?
No, because Fitzgerald was on our list of, I think he plays safety, right? He
Yep.
was on our list
Yep.
as top 10 safeties, man, and we were impressed.
Mhm.
And I was teasing SEC Sean about the fact that he got 2 interceptions in that game, in that
Mhm.
college football playoff game, and one of
Mhm.
them sealed the victory for them. And I really like Fitzgerald, and I was blown away by the fact that he
Mhm.
was a true freshman out there balling like that on the biggest stage.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're gonna see OJ Frederick right now and Damari Brown. You guys are gonna know their names very quickly too. They're that good. Like Damari Brown, like I said, he was the number one DB we had, and he went down. So he's full throttle this year. Be ready to go.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that Fitzgerald kid, man, he was damn everywhere. I think last year on against us for sure. Every time I looked up, there he was. And I was like, good, do something.
Yeah.
Get him. He needs a water break. Get him off the field.
He needs a targeting penalty, is what he needed.
Something, man. Good Lord. I'd have taken pass interference at that point, but whatever.
Facts.
So we kind of mentioned a little bit, and I know the game between our squads, the wind had a huge effect on it, but
Yeah.
kicking game was a problem for both squads. We went out and addressed ours, of course. I'm curious how you feel your kicking team, and not just the field goals, your whole special teams unit, but really, how do you feel y'all have addressed the kicking game this year?
Well, they got a grad transfer. I think his last name is Olson. Um, and supposedly he's our starter. Don't know much about him. I mean, we're gonna try to put up 1,000,000 points, so I don't know. Kicking
Right.
might not be the biggest thing, but we've always had a good punter. That Dylan Joyce has been really good. I mean, we've gone through our Australian football players that become our punters, and I mean, he's the next one up for us. He was our punter last year. The kicker, I don't know much about. I know he's a grad transfer. His last name is Olson. I do know that, and they're very highly of him. I don't know that we went out and spent money like we did everywhere else to try to get
Right.
what we needed, but they say he's a really good kicker. So I don't know. They'll say I'm hoping the first couple games we score 40 or 50 points, and then we start thinking not thinking about kicking field goals very much. So
Well,
we'll see what
yeah,
happens.
that's what you want to do is you want to like those first
Right,
couple of games score 50, and then
right,
that's in the first half, knowing y'all. And then in the
right.
second half, y'all just drive down to the 30 and start kicking field goals on first down.
100%. That's the
Of
plan.
course,
Well,
that's probably going to piss off some players on the other team, but oh
right.
well.
Yeah, right. 100%.
Yeah, Justin, I know you said that beating Ohio State was the best game for you. And our man one take Zaya is also a Ohio State fan, and he said he hopes that Ohio State gets an opportunity to get some get back this year. Do you think that would be a really good matchup between those two if they were to meet again in the college football playoffs?
I do, and I think that's what you know that's what college football wants because that's one of those prime time games. I think Jeremiah Smith going against his hometown team, that game alone, was an unbelievable game for me. I mean, I was in the, you don't understand, living in Columbus and being from Miami and being a Hurricane fan. And I was actually here when we lost in 01, 02. And a lot of my friends are Ohio State Buckeyes. So it's just tough. But so, yeah, I think it would be a phenomenal game again. Actually, they have a much tougher schedule and a much tougher way to get there this year than they would have last year. So, if they make it and they get to that far and we make and get to that far, that would be and I'm there. So whatever it costs, I'm there. So that would be phenomenal. So
Yeah, I know I made a bold take, and I know one take Zay don't want to hear me say it again. But I said with the schedule Ohio State got, my bold prediction is they are not going to make the college football playoffs this year. So I know when we do our Ohio State preview on Sunday, he's going to have something to say about that.
yeah,
Or when I come back to
yeah.
work, he's going to have something to say about it.
I bet. I mean, they're gonna be their schedule's crazy. Like that's the best schedule they've had in a long time. Because I always say they make it far. I'm like, man, their schedule sucks. They're not playing anybody. But this year, if they make it, they deserve it for sure.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Especially playing your Texas. So
I hope we can get that win, man.
yeah. Hey, I'm rooting for you, buddy.
I just like I'm rooting for Miami. Besides quarterback, do you have any depth concerns at any positions offensively and defensively on your team this year?
I'd probably say quarterback. I don't know that, you know, we've been going in the transfer portal every year for quarterbacks, and we haven't really been developing any, young quarterback talent. We do have a guy that'll be coming in next year. That's supposed to be, unbelievable, but we don't have a backup quarterback. So, if Mensa would get hurt, knock on wood, I'd be really worried about that. Every other position, I don't see a situation where, I'm worried about it. I mean, our running back room, people aren't really talking about, but I feel like we got the best running back room in the country. What we have there in that depth, O line, always going to have depth, D line, secondary, but the quarterback, we don't this year. And I'm kind of worried about that. So,
He said it feels right for y'all to meet in the Natty.
man,
Okay.
that would be unbelievable, man. Oh my gosh, you wouldn't even going to Natty again. I got a shirt that has our national championships on it, and the last one is a flag. Have you guys seen that shirt before, where they
I
threw
have
the
not.
flag for Ohio State to win the national championship? So I would like to have the next one be the flag, and then another ring next to it. That would be pretty sweet. So
Yeah. Our man post game of the post game sports podcast wants to know what's your floor and ceiling for wins and losses for Miami this year. And the last 2 years you've been so close to being spot on. You're spot on the first
yeah.
year. Last year you was off by one game. This year
Mhm.
we want to hear what you got because we feel like you know what you're talking about. What's your thoughts on them this year in terms of wins, losses, floor, ceiling?
Yeah, I mean, Sean brought it up before we started speaking. I think there's two games this year that on paper, one of them you're like, I don't know, Clemson's not very good, but an at Clemson game, I worry about. I still think we win it. I just think it's close. And then the other would be Notre Dame, November 7th. At Notre Dame, I mean, as a fan, you're saying, "Oh, we're winning that game. We're winning that game." But I think it's going to be tough for us to win. So I think we go through the regular season with one loss, and it's at Notre Dame. I think we'll have a close game. We'll have a close game at Clemson. And then the only other game that I think is going to be a game that's going to be a tough game because they always play us tough, even though it's at home. It's going to be VTech. So that'll be a tougher game, like maybe one of those close games. But again, like I said, this year one loss at Notre Dame,
Yeah. All
and I
right.
think that game is going to be close too. I don't think it's going to be a blowout either way, but it is the nighttime prime time game. I mean, that place is going to be loaded because they felt they should have been where we were last year. Um, I feel like I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I also feel like there's going to be some calls that I'm not going to like as a Miami fan. So that's going to be a tough thing to be, and I'm going to be there. So, and you might see me get escorted out if it gets too crazy. So you might see me on TV getting a little loud and a little worked up. But yeah,
Well,
no, at Notre Dame.
the good thing, Justin, is you're friends with Robert up here.
Yes, sir.
So if you go back, he can teach y'all what to do. When you get a call that doesn't go for you, just throw all your water bottles on the field and the ref will change the call and reverse it.
Ah, hey, facts. You are right. 100% right. Oh man, that would be sweet though. Yeah.
These next two are for you, SEC, or on you, SEC, Sean.
Yeah. The next question I had coming was they haven't done it yet. Is
I
this the
know.
year Miami gets the ACC? Is this the year
Yes.
they bring that ACC trophy back? You really, in
Yeah.
my mind, have three contenders. In my
Mhm.
mind, you really have three: Miami, Louisville, SMU.
Some of you. Yeah. Yeah.
But is this the year
What?
Miami gets it done?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, we don't play Louisville or SMU this year, which is very weird because we always play Louisville and they always play us tough. Me and Brown talked about it the last 2 years. Those are always games. I'm like, man, Louisville for some reason. And last year, well, the year before last, I was at Louisville when Cam Ward brought us back, and it was a close game. So yeah, no, we don't play Louisville or SMU this year. So I think this is the year, man. I mean, and we haven't yet, like you said, which is crazy because every year I feel like we have a chance to win the ACC, and ACC has like a sneaky team win. Like last year, Duke wins. Like what the hell? Like, but the way it's all set up is strange. But I think this year is the year with this. The schedule kind of aligns, and we got talent to the game that I'm thinking or that we're going to lose at Notre Dame isn't a conference game. So, that's going to be one of those opportunities for us to do it in the ACC. And I see Isaiah asked, do you think Pitt Clemson could be sneaky games? For sure, Clemson's going to be a sneaky game. The thing about Pitt, to me, is Pitt's at home. If it was at Pitt and it was the wintertime and it's cold, you could always count on it being a little tough for us because we don't like the cold, and I don't either. So it's one of those situations. It being at home, I don't think it's going to be a game. So
The last one came from Level Up Sports 10 here. Wanted to know, with the talent y'all have, is it title or bust?
I think any college program that's going to the extents that we're going to get these players here, as Texas A&M is doing, as Texas is doing, as Ohio State is doing, how Oregon is doing. Your top 6, 7, 8 teams. We're going after it. I think it is Tyler or bust year for us. I mean, I like as a fan, as a fan, you'd like to give the coaching staff another year, right? I mean, because you're talking about recruiting, you're talking about playing a lot of freshmen, you're talking about homegrown talent, which you have in Miami, where you may not have in other states. You're talking about homegrown kids. You want to give them another year or so, that type of thing. But because of what happened last year, it is title or bust. I really, really do think it's title or bust. I think Cristobal taking on his extension this year. I don't know if you guys saw that he signed for another, I think it's 5 or 7 years, which he deserved it, but you generally don't see that in college football anymore, and him doing that means we're going after it. You got another year of Tony, and I don't, you can't waste it, and this is Mensa's last year, and then you're going essentially next year, you're going to a young quarterback unless you get in the transfer portal again. So again, it's it's championship or bust. I was really mad about us being preseason number 7. I thought that was unbelievable to me. But I also think that lights a fire in the coaching staff and the players saying, look, you guys, we made a championship last year. They say it was we shouldn't have been there. So what are we gonna do this year to show? We gotta win it. So
Yeah, what do you think about Isaiah's question? One take Isaiah's question right there. I think the ACC smartly pushed their best team to the front as far as scheduling, and they hope another team will emerge as a clear-cut contender. What do you think about that comment?
so are they saying that they pushed us as the top team? Because to me, even though Notre Dame's not in the ACC, they're considered an ACC team. So to me, that's the clear cut who they want there, right? Even though they're not really an ACC team, but they are. They play our schedule, they play our teams, that type of thing. Yes, I think they think we're the one, right? So but I also feel like 1B is Notre Dame, right? They're saying Florida State's not going to be nothing this year. Clemson's not going to be nothing. Even Louisville and SMU, are they pushing them? No. So yeah, I think they're saying we're the favorite. And I'm happy for that. I mean, from a fan's perspective, we are the favorite and we're going to go there. We're going to get there. But
Yeah, you mentioned Mario Cristobal's contract extension, and we were talking in our chat a little bit earlier about Brent Venables getting another extension. What's your thoughts on coaches getting these extensions? Especially, I understand Mario Cristobal getting one because I think he deserves one. But what about Brent Venables? Do you think he deserved to get a contract extension? I know they made the college football playoffs last year, but do you think that Oklahoma is going to be one of those competitive teams that will allow their coach to be getting a contract extension?
well, I think it's the name, right? I mean, if you're able to run a program with that kind of name and you make it, even though they're not the Oklahoma of the past, they're still Oklahoma, right? I mean, he's able to recruit. They're still getting players. I mean, they're still, he's still managing that, and they made it there. I mean, I think that's really much what it's going to be about. Even I don't know if it'll be as much when they expand the CFP. That may change the way they look at the coaching and extensions. But right now, with the how many teams are getting in, and if your team's making it, and the money that team and that conference is getting, I mean, they're gonna. And as long as you're not, as long as you're dealing with these kids who are almost professionals now already in the college landscape, and you're doing a good job at it, I mean, you gotta hope to keep the coaches. I don't think they had this. I don't think Cristobal even cared about signing 5 or 6 years because he's going to stay in Miami as in my opinion probably forever. But again, I think the Oklahoma coach deserves it, and he should have gotten it because of the name and where they made it to last year. In my eyes.
SEC Shad, you got any more questions for Justin before I ask a couple of more?
You kind of touched on the Cristobal thing. That was where I was heading. Not a real big deal. No, go ahead and knock off some of yours, and I'm sure something else will pop into my head while you're going.
I'd like to know from you, Justin, if you had to pick the top 4 teams to get those top 4 slots Going into the college football playoffs next year, what would those four teams be if you had to come off the top of your head right now?
I think Texas is going to be one of those top four teams. I think if when they beat Ohio State, that'll put them in the front there to get that pick because of where they're preseason ranked. I think Oregon's going to be there. I think they'll have a chance if they beat Ohio State. I know it's crazy just throwing Ohio State out there, but if they beat Ohio State, they'll be a top four team. Um, and then obviously us. And I even think if we don't beat Notre Dame, I think it would be Notre Dame as well. So that's the top four teams that I'm thinking. Process of elimination with a lot of these teams are playing each other, right? So I think it's going to matter where the game's at, right? So like if we lose at Notre Dame, will that really hurt us, right? And if we go through the rest of the season and win out, or if it's a close game, you know. So all those things are going to matter. But I think Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oregon, and Texas are my four before the season starts.
One thing Zay wants to know about Jackson Cantwell, and he wants
Oh,
to know
lineman.
what are you hearing about him and his development, and does a
Mhm.
lot of his success depend on the development of him on offense?
Yeah, that's the guy I was telling you guys about earlier about when we lost Francis Maloga. I mean, he's I think 6'8", 6'9", number one offensive lineman in his class. He came to school early last year. He's been practicing with the team even from uh like like I think probably like 3 or 4 games before the end of the season and through the playoffs. So he's been there all winter, going through all spring and now ready. I mean, he's the one. So I think Ohio State had him, Georgia, Alabama, everybody was up and up to grabs to get him, and he came to Miami. So, man, that's one guy that I'm super excited about, like Maloga was for us. And again, a freshman and starter, and they're saying he's whenever he goes is going to be number one pick automatically. That's just crazy to hear, but a lot of expectations on him for sure.
You got anything SEC, Shaw?
Yeah, I was going to mention. I see you put a poll up, so I was going to mention to everybody in the chat real quick. I do have a question coming for you, Justin. After this, real quick.
Okay.
The question in the poll is: will Miami win the ACC championship? All you have to simply do is in the comment section, just type number 1 for yes or number 2 for no, and it'll automatically tabulate it. So, if you want to fill in there, right now it's a runaway.
Okay.
But my question for you would go back to Cristobal,
Okay.
and I want to touch base on. There was always the stigma around him of he's going to drop a game or two he shouldn't.
Mhm.
So I want to remove Clemson and Notre Dame from this. What is the game or games that if he were going to do it, would drop that game that nobody saw coming?
Yeah. Virginia Tech, and possibly Duke, because you got to look at, our old coach is the coach there now. It's funny. I saw him. I saw him. He has a place in the Keys near us, right? So I saw him on his boat, and we stopped and talked, and I started talking crap to him a little bit. Obviously, his dad was the mayor of Miami, Manny Diaz. He's ignited. He's mad that they lost Mensa and Barkate. They had him. He had re-signed to go back there, and then Miami came and got from him. So they're going to have a lot of added, anger and frustration and readiness to come after us. Even though it's at home, that'll be a tough game, and I could see that would be one that, like you said, I don't fully put it on Cristobal, but there could be some calls or some things that you're like, oh man, why did we do that? In any college game. But Virginia Tech as well, with them having Franklin as as their coach now from Penn State, they're going to be motivated to get a big win. I don't know that they'll have too many wins, but I think they'll be ready for us. And again, it's at home, so you're saying, okay, these are automatic wins. That'll be tough because Virginia Tech's going to play good. They're going to have a good special teams as they always do. Franklin's going to have them humming. So I think those two games would be the ones like, oh man. these are must, if you're betting on them, you're betting for Miami, but you just never know.
Our man Post
Yeah.
Game popped in with a question real quick. Were you going there, Rob, or were you going with it one of your own?
Now you go ahead and ask that question from post game. I'm gonna answer this phone real quick.
All right. So Post Game had a two-part question. We kind of touched on part of it earlier, but this is a little different. What kind of
Mhm.
workload do you see Cooper Barkate having? And do you think this is going to take away from Tony's workload with Barkate's addition? And he also wanted to chime in before you answer real quick that he thinks Miami has the best starting receivers in the country. Do you agree with that?
Well, as a fan, 100%. I'd like to say, I think Tony's better than Jeremiah Smith, but that's kind of my homerism a little bit. I think Jeremiah Smith's stronger and bigger, obviously a wide out. But I do feel like with Barkate, him, I think, them getting the kid from South Carolina, Jacobs from South Carolina, also Josh Moore and Upshaw. I think we have the best wide receiver, um, you know, class there is right now. To the Tony question, I think it's actually going to benefit Tony to have Barkate on the field. Barkate's more of a possession receiver from what I've seen. Obviously, Mensa's going to have a lot of um, he's going to feel good about throwing him the ball, right? But I think that'll also give Tony the option to really get loose this year. Beck had a good arm. Obviously, you're seeing it with the Cardinals now, but they're saying Mensa's arm is much much better and a little more precise. So I feel like Tony's going to just get a lot of better options. I think he made a lot of he made a lot of catches just because he was him, right? Whereas this year with a better wide receiver room, he's going to have more of the field. He's going to have more options. He's going to be more open. Going back to your very first question about the tight end position, even throwing Lofton the ball more, or even running the ball with Flesher, Brown, Pringle, Jordan Lyle, all those different guys that we have in the running back room. I mean, I think he's just going to have more and more options. I think he's even going to have a better year this year. I think he's having a better year this year, or this coming year, than he had last year. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, you can't deny the chemistry between Mensa and Barkate. You can't
Mhm.
deny it.
All right.
And knowing where he's going to be where he's supposed to be. And then you've got Tony as the wild card who could take the option route and just extend it or cut it across or take a 3-yard hitch and take it to the house. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and Miami's offense is going to be dynamic to watch.
I agree 100%. It's going to be fun to watch, which is, before years past, you're like hoping Ward can throw the ball to Streppel every play, right?
Right.
Even last year, we had two good wide receivers with Tony and now this year we have four. So it's like the more and more the better. He's gonna have it more open, but I do think he's gonna have a much better year this year.
Yeah, let me ask you this, and this is not about your Miami Hurricanes, but what's your thoughts on the NCAA approving the 5 years to play? No more red shirts. You just got a straight up 5 years, and they got an age restriction on it as well. What do you think about that rule?
I actually like it. I think getting something a foundation and the kids knowing exactly when they're done, how many years they have, and when they turn a certain age, this is when it's done. I think it's so much better than what's been going on lately. Even watching what went on with the quarterback for Ole Miss, and asking for extra years and going back. I mean, that's just a lot for the program. That's a lot on the kid. I actually think I really do think that it's a good thing for college football and the programs.
Now we all know that Miami has had some huge defensive lines in the past. One Take Zay wants to know all-time D lines
Mm,
in Miami history. Where do you rank last year's defensive line in comparison to all those other great ones?
man, God, that's a great question. I gotta go with, oh man, the the D line that we had with Warren Sapp, um, Jonathan Vilma, man, it's like Calais Campbell. Man, I mean, I that would have to be one. I think last year is two. I mean, you're gonna see what a lot of times when we talk about college football lines, we think about their NFL careers, right? So it's hard to go back and think about those guys. You When I'm saying those names, you're thinking about their NFL careers, right? But I mean, if you look at the dominance that Miami had during those years, it's got to be that that team for those 2 or 3 years, just unbelievable. But I would put last year's number two. Um, it was, Bain, if he wasn't injured the couple of years beforehand, I mean, he would probably go down as one of the best defensive linemen to ever come through Miami. And that's a lot of shoes to fill, but he got injured, right? So you can't really say anything. But last year's dominance, if you watch in the trenches, even any of I mean, Ohio State alone, if you watched the way Mesidor and Bain completely humiliated Ohio State's offensive line, those two players alone, you got to put them up there because they were just unbelievable. And if you watch the Texas A&M game, we go back to Sean's team. I mean, if it wasn't for those two ends, I mean, we brought up Fitzgerald and him being all over the field, but he was able to get all over the field because of Mesidor and Bain, right? So number two, easy, not even a question. Number two, Jason Taylor got them guys humming. He really does, man. He really got them going. I don't know how much longer we're gonna have Jason Taylor, but as long as we have him, he's done a phenomenal job.
Well, I had finally got the nightmare of Mesidor and Bain chasing Marcel Reed around.
Oh yeah,
I haven't
man.
got over the Fitzgerald one yet, but that one I had finally got over the other ones, and now they're right back. Thanks a lot. I'm gonna have to take some NyQuil or something to get rid of that.
Well, hopefully we get to play again. Wouldn't that be great?
No, that D line was phenomenal. That
Yeah,
was one of A&M's strongest O lines recently, and they just
yeah,
told them get out of the way.
yeah. What was the O line player you guys had last year? Was like number one in the country, and he was struggling with he was
Basantis,
struggling. Yes.
Chase
Yep.
Basantis,
Yep.
number 71.
Yep.
Yep,
Yeah.
and he had faced SEC edge rushers. That just tells
Yeah.
you the level. And I'm not making this an SEC anything debate. I'm just saying
No.
SEC has edge rushers, and
Right.
he had faced them and held his own all year until then. And that tells you he might have struggled a little bit against Colin Simmons too, but that's a whole different animal too. That just
Yeah.
tells you the level that those guys were at.
Right. Did you guys play Wilson last year with Missouri?
Yes. He didn't do much against us.
Okay.
We kind of throttled Missouri, but I think I'm going to be fair here and give Missouri some credit. They were playing with their first. That was their freshman's first start. Got thrown to A&M,
Got it.
and we had a pretty good defense last year, so we kind of shut them down, and that defense was on the field a lot. He showed some flashes, but he was nothing I was super excited over of what he had done against A&M, but he had done good against some other squads. I'll tell you that much. I mean, 9 sacks in an SEC is pretty good,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think y'all are going to be extremely happy with him. He's athletic. I'll tell you that much. He's pretty athletic.
Yeah. I've seen some pictures of him. He's got like a 10-pack. So
Yeah.
he looks
Yeah.
he looks the part for sure. I was like, damn, he got like a 10-pack. It's crazy. So
Yeah. He had a 12-pack, but Eli stole 2 of them.
right. Got it. Got it. Got it.
We're trying not to keep you past an hour, but the
Nah, man,
chat
you're
loves
good.
you so much.
Good, man.
And
You're
they've
good,
got
bro.
more questions for you. So on
Good,
that
man.
post game of the post game sports podcast, does Justin think the interior of Scott and Moulton will be what Bain and Mesidor was on the edge last year but from the inside.
I Yes, and I think I said this earlier. I brought their two names up, along with Lightfoot and Blunt, because of Wilson and his ability. Like Sean just brought up, you got those two guys coming from the inside, and again, you got one of the best trenches coaches out there with Jason Taylor. They'll be ready, and I do think they'll be coming from all angles. Like I said, defensively, even though we're losing one of second best line we've ever had. Um, Defensive line we ever had, the ones that we have and the experience that they have now after playing in last year and in the playoffs and who they played, given the Texas A&M such a great offensive line and Ohio State and then Indiana playing with all their 30-year-old guys on the offensive line. Now we'll be completely ready. And I really do think that they're going to put pressure on everybody. Camp is saying, I mean, my cousins have been going to the camp and the spring games, that the defensive line looks just as good or better than last year.
Yeah, that's what one take say is saying as well, that this line has the potential to be better for sure.
Yeah.
I know back during the Tom Herman era at Texas, he didn't allow for former players to really come around the program. Last year, when Miami made that run, we seen, and even before that, we've always seen players on their sideline. As a fan, how important is it for you as a fan to see all of those former players on the sideline, really rooting on their program that they play for and the team that they represent for the rest of their life? They're what they call them, lifers or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I knew that the slogan is Green Tree Made Me. That's Green Tree Street where the practice facility's at. I love it. Man, I'm telling you, going to the games in Miami is probably a similar way you guys feel about going to Texas or a Texas A&M game, or for when Ohio State play, Ohio State guys go to Ohio State games. I mean, it's a great feeling. I think for Miami, you know, the way the media portrays Miami in general, obviously Michael Irvin, they show every single game all game long and how locked in he is. They show Ed Reed with a gigantic hat or, on the field or on the, whatever. You see The Rock show up to games or whoever it is. I just think it brings so much more aura to the team. I also feel like it really gives motivation and confidence to the players. So when you have those kind of players, and arguably the best players that ever played the game, not just for Miami, but in general. I mean, you got Ed Reed is probably the best safety to ever play the game. Michael Irvin's probably one of the top 10 wide receivers ever to play the game. You got, Andre Johnson and all these people up and down the sidelines and talking to the players during the game. I just think, again, there's a lot to be said about those guys coming in and trying to like get TV time or try to be the focus of the team. But I don't see that at Miami, other than Michael Irvin, maybe. Um, but his love for the Miami in general is just unbelievable. I don't know if you guys saw. Um, I don't know if you guys saw he bought the RV for one of our players' moms, because Mark Fletcher's mom, because she's scared to fly. I don't know if you guys saw that, but he went out and bought an RV for her so she could, drive around the United States and go to games. I mean, I know that sounds trivial because he's got a lot of money or whatever, not a big deal, but that just shows you if, a player that was, in 1980s, early 90s, coming back to the program and buying stuff for the players, even though they don't need it, they don't need the money anymore, but just the thought of it just shows you what kind of family you got. I'm telling you, just being near the sidelines at the games that I've been to, it's just a great feeling. Just the families and the players, and just I sat next to Cam Ward's parents in Louisville, right next to him, and everybody was just. I mean, this is a great environment, man, and I think it's great.
Well, the I did some research while you were talking, and last year, Michael Irvin was only beat by one person for number of times being shown on a stupid football game, and that was Taylor Swift.
I didn't even know that. That's actually
I'm just messing around.
that's pretty. Oh, I was like, damn, that's crazy. Dang. Oh, no, I would have bet it. It's funny because all the Ohio State, obviously all the Ohio State fans around are
Yeah.
like, man, all they do is show Michael Irvin. I'm like, man, but they do show him a lot. You're 100%.
Yeah.
And Taylor, you are. I was gonna say that's actually probably a good stat, but
It might be.
no.
If I looked it up, it probably would be true. That's the bad thing.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, he's
yeah, no matter
energized,
what,
man.
and no matter what, you and I are kind of tied anyway without you even knowing it.
Why is
Because
that?
one of the kids that I did 7-on-7 football with was your quarterback for a year,
Who's that?
De'Aaron King.
Oh yeah, I like Derek King
And
a lot.
that
From
kid had
Houston, I
so much
liked him a
talent, but
lot.
them knee injuries messed him up.
Yeah, he was.
But yeah,
That's another guy that I guess that would be the first quarterback in the transfer portal that we were really, really high
yeah,
about. And like you said, him getting injured. Oh man, he was. Oh, before he came to Miami, I would. If Brown would have had this this channel, I would have talked all about Derek King. He was unbelievable, unbelievable. And they had a wide receiver core that year. They would have. Oh, talk
yep.
about talk about sad, but.
No, I know. I
Man,
hated it, but
damn.
that's
Hmm.
football.
That is 100% right. 100%.
Well, Justin, we appreciate you giving us an hour of your time.
Oh, no worries, man.
Everybody in the chat, thank you so much. But before you go, Justin, give us one time.
Are you ready for the U? Are we ready? Let's go. I'm excited. I'm really excited, man. So be ready at the end of the
Yeah.
year when we get a national championship. We'll get on this again and just see where I'm at. Actually, I'll do it from the game if you want to.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's why I had to put this in the background today so you guys see this is where we were last year. I was there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
All right, have a good rest of your evening. We
You too,
appreciate
Yeah,
it
for
guys.
so
sure.
much.
Hey, nice to meet you, Sean.
You too.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.
All
All
right,
right.
y'all. Peace.
All right,
Cheers.
peace.